Is Jacob Fatu finally going to betray Roman Reigns? Is the Samoan werewolf about to leave the bloodline that has treated him like a weapon among his own family? And the biggest question of all, could Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa reunite once again? Stay until the end of this video because Jacob's next move could completely shake up the bloodline. Welcome back to the Ringside Observer. Guys, what happened on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw has raised one massive question in the WWE universe. Roman Reigns and the Usos were in serious trouble, but Jacob Fatu remained standing in the corner of the ring, watching the entire situation unfold. He didn't step forward to save Roman. Naturally, every fan is now asking the same question. Has Jacob Fatu started distancing himself from Roman Reigns? But there's something very important we need to understand here. Did Jacob actually betray Roman? For now, saying that would be premature, because Roman Reigns himself had previously ordered Jacob Fatu not to get involved in his situation with LA Knight. Roman made it clear that he would deal with LA Knight himself. So when Roman and the Usos were being attacked, Jacob standing in the corner wasn't necessarily a sign of anger or betrayal. He was following Roman's orders. Jacob didn't attack Solo Sikoa. He didn't attack LA Knight. And at that moment, he didn't interfere in Roman's situation. He simply stood there and watched everything fall apart. But this is where the story becomes much more interesting, because there are already several cracks between Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. Jacob has the power. He has his own identity. And most importantly, he doesn't need to prove that he can be anything more than somebody else's weapon. Roman Reigns has always operated the bloodline like a hierarchy. The tribal chief at the top, with the other members of the family beneath him. But Jacob Fatu doesn't look like someone who can be controlled forever. And if Roman continues using Jacob while failing to give him the respect he believes he deserves, eventually that relationship could completely collapse. So if Jacob does leave Roman, where would he go? That's where Solo Sikoa comes into the picture. Because if Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa eventually reunite, WWE could have an incredibly dangerous storyline on its hands. Both men come from the same family. Both have extremely physical wrestling styles. And both have fought against Roman Reigns and the bloodline in their own ways. Now imagine the moment when Jacob Fatu is standing behind Roman Reigns and Roman believes his most dangerous weapon is still on his side. Then Jacob suddenly attacks. A super kick. A Samoan drop. And suddenly, the entire bloodline realizes that Jacob Fatu is no longer with Roman Reigns. He's fighting for himself. And that could be the moment that splits the entire bloodline into two sides. On one side, Roman Reigns and the Usos. On the other, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. But the story doesn't have to end there. Because if Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa reunite, WWE could potentially introduce another major name into the equation, Zilla Fatu. If Zilla Fatu eventually makes his main roster debut at the right moment, WWE could create a completely new Bloodline versus original Bloodline storyline. Imagine it. Roman Reigns standing with his original Bloodline on one side, and on the opposite side, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Zilla Fatu. This wouldn't simply be a faction war. It would be a battle for control of the family. And the biggest question would be, who becomes the next tribal chief? Roman Reigns has controlled that position for years, but if Jacob Fatu slowly establishes himself as an independent force, could he eventually become the biggest threat to Roman's position? Because Jacob doesn't just have physical power, he has presence, he has aggression, and he has the unpredictability that can completely change a major WWE storyline in an instant. But for now, we need to make one thing clear. Jacob Fatu has not officially betrayed Roman Reigns yet. Based on what we've seen, it's more accurate to say that Jacob is still following Roman's orders. But serious questions have now emerged about where his future is heading. And that's the beauty of WWE storytelling. Something that looks like a small moment today could become one of the most important pieces of the entire storyline months from now. So now I want to hear from you. Should Jacob Fatu betray Roman Reigns and reunite with Solo Sikoa? Would you like to see Jacob Fatu become the next tribal chief? And if WWE eventually books an original Bloodline versus new Bloodline match, which side do you think would win? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you want more Bloodline theories, predictions, and WWE storyline breakdowns, make sure you subscribe to the Ringside Observer. Because if Jacob Fatu really does turn against Roman Reigns, this won't just be a betrayal. It could be the beginning of an entirely new era for the Bloodline. Thanks for watching. and I'll see you in the next one.